A Samsung Galaxy S23 Ultra vs iPhone 14 Pro Max matchup should be one of the highest stakes smartphone duels this year. And it all kicks off in less than a week after months of speculation about how Samsung plans to take on Apple's newest handsets. Apple jumped out of the gate with the iPhone 14 Pro Max, which we rate as the best phone overall. The iPhone's new cameras, dynamic island display, and super-powered but efficient chipset make a top phone certainly one of the best we've tested. We don't have the official word on what the Samsung Galaxy S23 Ultra will bring, let alone what features are planned for the Samsung Galaxy S23 series in general. But rumors in advance of the February release have given us a pretty good picture of what to expect. The S23 Ultra is likely to bring a new chipset of its own as well as camera improvements to take the fight directly to the iPhone 14 Pro Max. And there are others that promise to make this a very intriguing device. If you're trying to work out which phone you'll want to buy or just want to figure out which phone will be left standing at the end of the fight, watch it till the end for a detailed Samsung Galaxy S23 Ultra versus iPhone 14 Pro Max comparison based on our time with Apple's phone and the rumors we've heard so far about the upcoming Samsung device. It's difficult seeing the differences between the iPhone 14 Pro Max and last year's iPhone 13 Pro Max, but they are there. The camera bump on the back of the iPhone is now slightly larger to make room for the upgraded optics, and there's also now a new dynamic island housing for the front cameras instead of the iPhone's familiar notch. The iPhone 14 Pro Max also comes in a refreshed set of colors, consisting of space black, deep purple, silver, and gold. But generally, Apple's new handset features the flat-sided, matte glass-backed iPhone Pro design you're probably already familiar with. According to the latest leaked Galaxy S23 Ultra renders, Samsung's upcoming phone looks like it'll be all but identical to the Galaxy S22 Ultra it's replacing. The individual rear cameras, squared-off profile, curved sides, and punch-hole selfie camera look to be still there, as is the built-in S Pen slot, so it will still have a handy way to draw and take proper handwritten notes all on a pocket-sized device. The only potential changes to the Galaxy S23 Ultra are thicker bezels, according to one source, with others refuting this claim and stating it would have more Galaxy S22 Ultra similarities. We might also see a slight increase in the phone's height and width, but we can't imagine we'll notice these fractions of an inch differences once the S23 Ultra arrives. As with the iPhone 13 Pro Max before it, the iPhone 14 Pro Max uses a 6.7-inch AMOLED display with a 120Hz adaptive refresh rate and a Super Retina XDR resolution. It's an impressive display with high brightness and vivid, accurate colors. The display also improves with the addition of an always-on display, bringing the iPhone 14 Pro Max up to speed with the best Android phones. We should see the Galaxy S23 Ultra arrive with a 6.8-inch adaptive 120Hz that provides the same QHD resolution as the S22 Ultra. One rumor suggested that Samsung will update the display in some way, though there are few specifics on how. Samsung just introduced one of the brightest displays ever with its new ultra-dynamic range panel capable of having peak brightness at tops 2000 nits, but that display may not have arrived in time to be used on the Galaxy S23 lineup. A recent rumor tips the Galaxy S23 Ultra to keep the same peak brightness of 1750 nits found on last year's model. Apple gave the iPhone 14 Pro Max a camera boost in the form of a new 48 megapixels main camera capable of shooting in both 12 and 48 megapixels RAW formats for more brightness or detail, depending on what the user prefers. The new device also gained the same auto-focusing 12 megapixels selfie camera as the other iPhone 14 models, while its ultra-wide sensor is twice as big as before. The 12 megapixels 3x telephoto and depth sensing LiDAR scanner remain the same. The Galaxy S23 Ultra is likely to get a main camera update too. It's apparently getting a new 200 megapixels camera to replace the S22 Ultra's 108 megapixel sensor, allowing users the highest possible resolution on a smartphone. Apart from that, the rumors say to expect no change to either of the two 10 megapixels telephoto lenses. Leakers expect the Galaxy S23 Ultra to feature a 12 megapixels front camera, a same shooter that's headed to the other S23 models apparently. That a downgrade in terms of megapixels, the S22 Ultra has a 40 megapixel sensor, but rumors suggest a pro mode for the front camera as well as improved night photo features for the front lens. While it can't match up to the Samsung's powerful telephoto zoom range, the iPhone 14 Pro Max currently heads up our best camera phone, beating the Galaxy S22 Ultra by 4 whole places. Samsung will need to improve its photo processing algorithms as well as its hardware to beat Apple, as its oversaturated, oversmooth images have prevented it from keeping pace with Apple's phones. The 16 bionic chip within the iPhone 14 Pro Max provides amazing performance that's way ahead of any current Android phone, Samsung's included. The Galaxy S23 Ultra will struggle to top it, whichever chip it ends up with. Currently, that's looking like either the Snapdragon 8 Gen 2, the new silicon Qualcomm introduced last November. In fact, this new Snapdragon chipset could feature in every Galaxy S23 model, as Samsung overlooks its own Exynos 2300 chips. Our Snapdragon 8 Gen 2 benchmarks predict a big leap forward for any phone lucky enough to use that silicon. In our testing with a reference device supplied by Qualcomm, the Snapdragon 8 Gen 2 powered handset actually beat the iPhone 14, and it's a 15 bionic chipset on some tests. The 16 bionic powering the iPhone 14 Pro models remains comfortably ahead though. We know that the iPhone 14 Pro Max contains a 4323 mAh capacity, with 20 watts wired charging and 15 watts MagSafe wireless charging. Looking to the rumors, we should again see a 5000 mAh battery in the S23 Ultra. At the very least, you'd expect 25 watts charging, though the S23 Ultra seems more likely to retain the 45 watts charging capabilities Samsung introduced to the S22 Ultra. With the Galaxy S22 Ultra nowhere to be seen. In fact, Samsung's current flagship trailed the iPhone by nearly 5 hours on our custom battery tests, with the phone's adaptive refresh rates enabled. Samsung could really do with improving battery life if it wants to beat the iPhone. There's little doubt that we're looking at the top 2 phones for this year in a Samsung Galaxy S23 Ultra as iPhone 14 Pro Max comparison. The only difference is we know that the iPhone is awesome already, while there are a few more days to wait until we see how good the new Ultra Galaxy is. We expect the iPhone will retain its advantage in terms of performance and battery efficiency. It could continue to lead in camera quality depending on the changes Samsung introduces. But the Galaxy S23 Ultra looks set to continue beating the iPhone on charging speed, display size, and resolution, not to mention the productivity potential opened up by its included S Pen stylus. The truth will only be discovered once Samsung unveils its new Galaxy S models and we get the chance to put the device to the test. Until then, we'll be tracking the rumors for the Galaxy S23 Ultra and continuing to put the iPhone 14 Pro Max through its paces to get the best idea of which phone wins this face-off and how. So do consider subscribing for more Galaxy updates, and I'll see you guys in the next one. See you for the next time. Peace out.